Hi everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill, and welcome to Mixed Media Meets the Craft Fair. Today I'm making Santa's keys, and there's a couple versions. So on this one, I'm doing it on a door hanger. Now these have been gessoed after they've been sanded, and you really need to prep wood before you put it on. Now I found the Santa's key poem on Pinterest. I'd never heard of it before this year. Typed it out in a font that I liked, and I know what size is going to fit. Now, that's going to take up most of the room on this door hanger, but I did want a little something extra on here, so I decided to grab this Native Star stencil from the Crafter's Workshop, and with their white modeling paste, I'm just putting a little bit at the bottom. I think this is going to add some nice texture to an otherwise very plain background. Now here you see the poem is already colorized. I will show you what I end up doing to colorize it. That's coming up in the video. That was kind of a trial one. Sometimes I try out ideas a little bit beforehand to see if they're going to work before I hit play on the video. I'm using a key card to apply the modeling paste, and I find I have way more success when I do that. It's a larger surface, and it seems to work best. Now since I'm putting the poem on parchment colored paper, I wanted that to really stand out. So I wanted to go with a dark jewel tone color. And I just decided for simplicity's sake to do them all in this Prussian blue color. But you could have done burgundy, you could have done teal, you really could have done any color you wish. Now, because I'm getting this ready for a craft fair, I'm doing this assembly line, which is why you see two there. In reality, I did 4 of them. And that's just one way. You save a lot of time because you're bringing out the paints once, you're cleaning up once. And when you're creating for a craft fair and you're doing multiples of something, that really saves you time. I'm just getting a coat of this. Now, the other side is gessoed in white, and I end up doing both sides of this door hanger. So it's a reversible, so it's really a twofer. But when you're making it, you can just do the one side if that's what you prefer. So I semi-fussy cut around the poem. I didn't like the big rectangular piece. It seemed to take out too much of the blue. So I got some gold paint there, and I am putting it on the pad of my finger and rubbing it on the texture paste to bring out the texture and add some of the gold into it. If you get some where you don't want it, you can remove it with a baby wipe. I find though that with the metallics, it's really hard to remove it, and often you're better off just leaving it. I've tried this with a makeup sponge. I tried it with a blending tool. They all work about the same. I just prefer my finger. And there I'm attempting to get some of it out. And I'm just testing the poem. Now, I'm putting the gold paint on the makeup sponge, and I'm just going over top of the poem. Because the gold paint is translucent, you can see through it. It doesn't block off too much of the script. Alternatively, you can print the poem onto paper that's already been colored, and that would then the black goes on top. Keeping with the antique feel, I'm just edging this with gold. Then I grab my diluted gold paint and my fan brush and I'm splattering gold. Again, I want a little bit more on that background. The background is so very, very plain, and that's okay because most of it's going to be covered with the poem. If you're making this for yourself, you can totally make this whatever color combination that works in your decor. So if you have purple on your tree or peacock colors, you can use those colors. So I wanted to edge this a little bit more. So I used my distress crayon and I had get my distress inks out and the blending tool, and I'm just kind of edging this. Now it's difficult because I've cut around this, but I find that it was worth the extra effort. And when I glued it down, all those curly bits get pushed down. You can search on Pinterest for the Santa Key poems. There's lots of different varieties or variations of it. I just found one today that actually I would have preferred. It's a little shorter than this one. And there I'm just gluing it down with the gel medium. This one says, "Dear Santa, we don't have a chimney, and I was worried as can be about how you'd bring the presents to my family and me. But now I've solved the problem, and I'm not sad anymore, for hanging from this ribbon is a magic key to our front door." So, keeping with the gold, I grabbed my fine line bottle, and I'm just edging this with a fine line of gold. Fine line bottle is a wonderful tool for some things like for this. I've diluted the paint. I don't have a recipe because it depends on the paint and the consistency of your paint. I don't mix very much and I just trial and error. Water and paint. So coming up, I'm going to show you another version. I had little wooden tags that I got at the dollar store, and I decided that I'm going to turn them into Santa keys. So that's what you're going to see right now. So what I did is I put modeling paste through another Crafter's Workshop stencil. You'll see that on the other door hanger in a minute. And then I made the poem smaller and put it on there on the other side. So this is the two side and then tied a ribbon around it. I did the same antiquing process. I painted the backgrounds in jewel tones. I really actually like the little tag ones almost better. So now I'm doing the other side of the Santa key. So the back side is done. So being careful not to get paint onto it. I am just doing a rainbow of bright colors and I'm blending a little bit in there. So I'm trying to work fairly quickly so that the paint is wet and I get, a blended color in here. But I want brights. So I have bright yellow, I did orange, quinacridone magenta. This is deep violet. And then turquoise. And the turquoise and the deep violet kind of make a indigo color or violet color, indigo. And then I'm going to apply a little more wet on the yellow, and I'm going to work down because I want wet so I get that blended color in between. And going down, I'm just going to put some green. And then turquoise. So I'm repeating what I have at the top as well. And I just find that that gives cohesiveness. And then some deep violet. So the top two colors at the top are the same as what's on the bottom. And I put the yellow in the middle because I wanted the brightest point to be central to the door hanger to really stand out. So after that's dried, I grab this Christmas tree stencil, again, one from Crafter's Workshop, and I have a stencil that I cut out the word believe on my silhouette. And I'm just positioning it there because I want to put that along the side. And I'm just using regular black acrylic paint and a makeup sponge, and I stamp off. I do not want this wet and globby on the makeup sponge. That will very likely seep underneath and make less than what you want. Now, while sometimes when I'm doing a background, I'm not too worried about the stenciling being so precise, but here I'm using the stencil as a focal image, so I want it to be as crisp and precise as I can. And doesn't that black silhouette look so great on that colorful background? So here I have my word believe that I cut out with my silhouette. I couldn't believe that I actually had a stencil that I had created for something else that still fit. Quite often when it comes to stencils and words, the scale isn't quite right. So there we have the beautiful door hanger. And remember, the other side has the Santa's key on here. And I'm just getting a little bit of edging with the black, just to frame this side of the door hanger. Now you could take this and put it on a canvas and just have these colors. And I think that would make an absolutely beautiful Christmas canvas. I would probably have more of the tree, although I like how it's partly off the page. Here I've got my fine line bottle again with the gold paint, and I'm just going around just to give it that little bit of bling. And as you can see, I'm not being overly precise. The more you fuss and worry about it, the worse I find I get. So the gold is such a beautiful addition. And after hesitating, I decide I'm going to edge the word as well. It just seemed to look naked without the gold. So as it comes to an end, there are some close-ups of all the different variations of the Santa's key, the big ones and the small ones. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. Let me know if you give this a try. Check out the description box for links to any of the products that I've used. Bye for now.